refer to my drummers and my singers. Is that worth a performance? How early did you guys get up this morning? Okay, so you're tired? You're tired? Are you going to have to perform all day? No, but you get to enjoy all day. But you got to get your energy up for our performers. When you're tired and the people around you are tired, doesn't it kind of make you stay tired? Yeah? But if people around you are up, spirits get up. You know what? I got 2 hours sleep last night. Woo! But I'm so thrilled to be here because this is one of my favorite days of the year. I am going to try one more time and then we're going to get started. Good morning! Oh, now I'm awake. Now I'm awake. Thank you, guys. My name is Michelle Carr, and I work here at the North Carolina Museum of History. And on behalf of all of our staff and volunteers and wonderful, wonderful artists and presenters that you will see today, thank you so much for coming to our American Indian Education Day. Anybody here for the first time? Wow, that's a lot of people. You picked a great day to come. We're open almost every day of the year, and we're always a fun place to come. I have no bias, of course, but I think this is one of the best days to come here because you are going to get to see and meet and learn so many things about North Carolina's American Indian history. I'm not from North Carolina. I came from a state that doesn't have this kind of wonderful history, and I am so glad that I get to live here now and learn about it. You guys get to grow up with it. You're so lucky. Because American Indian history and heritage is special to our country and to our state. And really, anybody who lives in North Carolina should be proud of it. And we're going to learn about it today at our Education Day. I'm going to do a little housekeeping for chaperones and teachers, and then I'm going to get out of your way because you didn't come here to hear me talk. As I said, this is going to be our dance and drumming demonstration. So when you see the performers up on the stage, our great drummers and singers, our talented dancers, you're going to want to take pictures and film. Go ahead, that's awesome. Go ahead and take all the pictures you want of the performance. As you go throughout the day, you will see more artists and demonstrators and volunteers, and you're probably going to want to take their pictures. Just ask their permission first. That's all we ask. I bet they will be thrilled that you ask and love to have their picture taken with you. But it's always polite to ask. You'd want them to ask you before they took your picture. So just do the same courtesy. Now, when we finish here, we're going to have you exit up the aisle. It's going to be a few minutes, don't worry. But then you're going to get in with your chaperone and your teacher, and you're going to look at the schedule. Every adult should have a schedule. If you need one, you can get them at the check-in table. There are activities all over this floor, which we call the lobby, or the first floor, the third floor of this building, the education wing, and outside. Nothing on the second floor. That's where my office is. It's really not very interesting. You're not missing anything except a dirty, messy room, so don't worry about it. But when you go to all those activities, you may see a lot of people. We might have 2,000 people here today. It's a lot of people. And if you get to a line and you think, gosh, this is a really long line, I don't want to wait because I don't want to miss something, it's okay to say, let's go to this other station and come back here in a few minutes, in about 10 minutes. That way you'll get to do more. Don't worry about trying to do everything on the list. Pick the activities that you think are going to be the most interesting. You know, you might want to go to storytelling. You may want to go to the weapon demonstration, or you may want to go play games. You decide. It's your day. And every activity is really fun and cool. Trust me, you'll enjoy them all. We're going to be streaming live today, so if you see a camera and you want to be on films, give it a big smile. You might be on the internet. You might become a celebrity. You can also send us your photos at hashtag AIED2018. We will post them. It helps us promote this event. We do it every year. In fact, tomorrow we're going to do an even bigger event. We hope 10,000 people are here tomorrow. We're going to do all the dancing and drumming outside, so we might have 75 dancers tomorrow. It's an awesome day. So if you're in the area, you want to come to the Christmas parade, come back downtown and spend the afternoon with us. It'll be our 23rd annual American Indian Heritage Celebration. Now, one last thing, evaluations. We're going to send them to your teachers and chaperones at the end electronically. Don't worry about it. You'll get them a week or two later. We would love for you to tell us how to make today better because we do this for you. So if you say, hey, I liked this was great, do it again, or hey, I think you could do this or add something, we do listen to you. We make changes. So that is the one thing that I do want you to know. And I'm going to have one more rule. it's my tough rule. I'm a stickler on this one, okay? So I want you to listen real carefully. You need to obey this one. You really need to follow it. I want you to have a good time today, okay? Can you do that? Yeah, okay. That's my big rule. All right, I'm going to turn the stage over to our host and master of ceremonies, Mr. Ryan Dial Stanley of the Lumbee Tribe. Please welcome our host. That's perfect. Perfect. He's ready.
All right, good morning, everybody. I know y'all got up early. I heard somebody yelling it out, but are y'all so excited to be here? Okay, good. It would have hurt my feelings if everybody said no. So we have a very special treat for you today. We've got different examples of some Native American powwow dances. And real quick before we start, I want to make sure that, we're all on the same page. Can somebody just real quick tell me how many tribes are in North Carolina? I heard 3. Who said 8? So that's right. We have 8 tribes in North Carolina, all over the state, and we've got representatives from a few of those tribes here. But the dances we're going to be doing today are powwow dances, and these are dances that all tribes, not just in North Carolina, but in the United States and Canada, these are dances we all do across at our powwows. So real quick, our first one, I'm going to ask my women's jingle to come out. And like I said, this is a dance. Even though we currently do it all over the country, this actually started with a specific tribe, the Ojibwe people. And this dance started as a healing dance. And like all of our dances that you'll see here today, they all have a story, and they all have their own unique history. So the history behind this dance is there was an Ojibwe man, an elder, and he had a granddaughter who was very sick, but none of the medicine men could figure out why. So he would pray, and one night he had a dream. And in this dream, he saw 4 women wearing a new style of regalia and doing a dance that hadn't been done yet. These 4 women were wearing a long dress made out of buckskin, and at the time, it was lined with 7 rows of deer toes. And what happened is when these women would dance, those deer toes would hit against each other, and it would make the sound like rain. And that rain, that sound would wash away any of the illness that this young woman had. So when the elder woke up, he got to work, and he made these dresses. He found 4 women in the community to do this dance in the 4 directions around his granddaughter. And just like that, she was healed. And to this day, the women who do this dance will oftentimes hold their side to represent where that original young woman had her first pain. And now we still do this dance at powwows all over, and we still appreciate it as a healing dance. So keep that in mind when we look at the women's jingle dance. All right, so our next style of dance, it's a pretty fun one. I think everybody kind of likes to see this one. We're going to have a young man come out, and he's going to be doing the men's fancy dance. Come on, buddy. So a little bit about this dance. This dance is actually one of our newer ones. Native people, we change and we adapt all the time. We don't have to keep doing the same things we were doing hundreds of years ago. Our dances change, our outfits, our regalias, they change. And just like this one started around the 1950s or so. And what happened was a lot of our young men in our communities would go off to war. Native Americans to this day still have some of the highest rates of enlisting in the military. It is very common to see veterans in our communities. So a lot of times the styles of men dances, they would tell stories of battle. Well, when they would go off to these foreign wars in these other countries, they experienced a new kind of warfare that they weren't used to. The weapons had changed, bullets start flying everywhere, hundreds of them at a time. So when they came back, they need to adjust their dances to this new style of warfare they experienced. So just like their heartbeats during battle, the drum would speed up to represent that, so their dances would speed up. And to do that, we had to change our regalias a little bit. So this young man is wearing bustles on his back. And originally, our men would just wear one, but we started wearing two on our shoulders and on our back so we could do more lively movements. And eventually, this turned into a competition dance that would have been done at shows all across the West, and it made its way to a lot of other tribes in the country. And now it's a very popular it's a very popular dance that we do at powwows all the time. So I guarantee you that the harder you cheer for this young man, I bet you he'll throw out some new moves and dance a little bit faster. No pressure. See what I tell y'all? I was right, won't I? So I know you noticed, we start our dances very young. Native people, we find it so important to carry on our traditions and our history at the youngest age. A lot of our dancers even start dancing the second they can walk by themselves. We'll make them a regalia, and we'll throw them out there in the powwow trail. So we've got one more style of dance right before everybody leaves. We're going to have a men's Eastern Woodland style. Eastern Woodland. And this is a special style because a lot of our powwow dances actually didn't originate here. They originated in a lot of tribes out west in the northern, southern plains. But this style of dance is something that we've been working so hard to revitalize. And this is the style of dance that my ancestors did, and the regalias are pieces very specific to this area in North Carolina. So a little bit what they have on. They've got this young man from bottom to top. He's got deer toe rattlers. We wear these when we dance so we can keep in beat with the drum. And eventually we started moving to things like bells. On top of their heads, they both got two different styles of headdresses. And we use different feathers that are indigenous to North Carolina. You see a lot of hawk feathers, you see a lot of turkey feathers, and some eagle feathers. Native American peoples would trade with each other. We would trade with Europeans too, so that's how we would start using these different styles of cloth. This three band cloth, sorry, I can never say that. So this is a very special style to me. This is a style that we've worked so hard to revitalize. And like other men's dances, they're gonna be telling a story. They're gonna be telling a story in maybe a battle, maybe a war. But they're telling the story from this perspective of the original people in this area. All right, thank you guys. So just because y'all have been such a good audience, we were able to squeeze one more style of dance for you before you leave. That sound all right? Y'all want to see one more style? So next style of dance, we're going to have our women's traditional dancers come out. And this style might be a little different than what we've seen today. A lot of times, traditionally, our women, their original dances, they didn't have to do as many moves. You know, women were our protectors. They were the keepers of our communities. They served as clan mothers. So what would happen is at our gatherings, they would dance very gracefully on the outside of the arena most of the time. And the men and the children would dance on the inside. And that shows the respect we have for our Indian women, traditionally and still today. Today, in our tribal communities, women serve such a vital role in our families and in our people. And that's what this dance represents. And just a little bit about what they're wearing, the regalias, as we call them. They've all got on styles of cloth dresses, but if you'll notice, even though they're doing the same style of dance and they're wearing a similar regalia, it's still unique. When we make our regalias, they're usually made by somebody very special to us. Very rarely will you get the entire thing from one person. Sometimes you get from multiple different people. You get different pieces because they're unique to us, and everybody's regalia tells their own story. A lot of people design their own. A lot of people, like we have on stage, actually make parts of their own regalia. And that just makes them even more special. So that's actually why we never refer to these as costumes, because we're not dressing up in these outfits and pretending to be American Indian and then taking them off and cease being indigenous people. Even when we take these regalias off, we're still the same indigenous peoples as our ancestors who wore them first. And we're not pretending to be those people. We are the same people. We carry the same blood. And that's why we change and adapt so we can carry on our same traditions. So on behalf of myself and the North Carolina Museum of History, I want to thank everybody for coming here today, being such a great audience. You should feel accomplished that we have all appropriately embraced American Indian culture and help us celebrate American Indian Heritage Month. So let's get another round of applause for all our dancers. And I'm going to turn it over to Miss Sharon.
All right. What did you think, boys and girls? Very good. Want to say thank you, Pilahuk, to all of our dancers, all of our singers. We especially want to say Pilahuk to each of you for being here with us today and being such a wonderful, wonderful audience. Your attention, your respect was outstanding. So just to echo a couple of things that Miss Michelle shared with you in the beginning, we would ask that you respectfully exit on this aisle here. She's at the top of the ramp there waiting for you. Be sure to get with your groups, select the stations that you'd like to attend, and remember, if they're crowded at the time, just go ahead and move on to the next one so you're using your time as wisely as possible. So again, Pilahuk, thank you.
Folks, don't forget to check out the storytelling in the demo gallery on the lobby level.
Testing, testing.
good morning. That wasn't bad, but I think you can do better. Good morning. That may be one of the best we've heard so far. What do you guys think? Whoa, the drummers are happy, and it's a good day when our drummers are happy. Yes. My name is Michelle Carr, and I want to welcome all of you to the North Carolina Museum of History for our American Indian Education Day. Anybody here for the very first time? Wow, that's a lot of people. I'm so glad you came to see the museum. Thank you. Every day is a good day at the museum, but today is a special day. So you were smart to choose to come today. Good thinking. Because you're going to get to see so many wonderful things. I wish we could do this every day, but we can't. But we are so proud that we get to do it in November, which is American Indian Heritage Month. We're celebrating North Carolina's American Indian heritage, which is awesome. It's gone for thousands and thousands of years. And it continues today. That's very important. There are American Indians living and working here in North Carolina today, and you're going to get to meet and see a lot of them who have come of their time to share their history and culture with all of us. So that's why we're so lucky. We're going to start out here with our dancing and drumming demonstration, and then after this activity, you're going to get to go back out and see all the other things going on in the museum. This is the lobby, or the first floor. We have activities all over it. Up on the third floor, the education wing. We even have games going on outside. If you're brave enough to get your coats up and want to go outside, we've got games going on out there. All the floors inside the museum have water fountains and restrooms. Now, we're going to have about 2,000 people here today. That's a lot of people. So when you leave here, I know you're sometimes with your whole class, but I say, this is my idea, and I think this works really well. You've probably got chaperones and adults to break into smaller groups. That's probably the best way to work around the building. Get together, look at all the schedules. All the adults, we have a schedule for you. If you don't have one, you can pick it up at the check-in desk. Tells you all the things happening, has maps. Some things are timed, like this activity and storytelling. Some things just go on continually. So look and you talk to your group and you decide which activities you think are going to be the most fun. And that's where you should go, because there's probably more than you can do today. Now, what I want to do is not have you spend your day sitting in line. So you get to a big, long line. You know what? I'd move to another station and then come back. I bet that line will be shorter, and that way you'll get to do more things. Now, if you have a camera with you, I've got mine with me, and you like to take pictures of the performance on the stage, snap away, film, photograph. It's great. As you go throughout the museum, you may see an activity or a person, particularly someone who's dressed in a very beautiful outfit or regalia, and you want to take their picture. Just ask their permission first. I'm sure they'll tell you yes, but you'd want them to ask your permission before they took your picture. So, it's just a polite thing to do. Now, your teachers, we're going to send you an evaluation in a few weeks after the event electronically. I hope you'll take the time to fill it out for us, because we do this every year, and we do it for you. So if there's something we can change or add to make this day better, we want to do it. This is why we do it, because it needs to be an event that you feel is worth your time in coming here. We're also going to be on Facebook today, so if you see some cameras and you want to be on the internet and you think that's cool, give them a big grin. You could be a celebrity. Wow, you could be a media star. I personally don't necessarily think I'm a media star, but we'll find out. I might give it a try. We'll see. I'll become famous, and you can be famous too, maybe. Now, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to turn the stage over to our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. J.D. Moore. Please give him a big hand, everybody.
Thank you, Miss Michelle. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to our future here in North Carolina. It's good to have you here today and this weekend as we're celebrating here at the North Carolina Museum of History our American Indian Heritage Month. So, guys, it's good to see everyone. Also good to see Miss Tiffany Campbell back here, one of my classmates from college. Yeah, it's good to see Miss Tiffany. So she's from Robinson County, from the Lumbee Nation, and she's a school teacher up here in the area. in the Wake County areas or somewhere around this area. So it's good to see Miss Tiffany. So, guys, I'm telling you what, we're going to have a good time today. You're going to see a lot of representation from our various tribes here in the state of North Carolina. We have 8 state-recognized tribes, with the Cherokee tribe being our one federally recognized tribe. But all over, we have wonderful drum groups here with us today. Stony Creek from the Halawasa Pony Nation is here with us today. And also Southern Sun is here with us, and these guys are Lumbee and Halawasa Pony. There's Waccamaw Siouan that sings with these guys. There's a lot of various ones that sing with these guys here. So you'll hear the different styles in the drum, with these guys, Stony Creek being northern style, and the southern style will come here from Southern Sun. So again, guys, we're going to start out here this morning with the grand entry. And the grand entry is where we bring all of our dancers in to represent and to showcase all of our dance styles, no matter what the tribal affiliation they be. Could be Lumbee, could be Kahari, could be Waccamaw Siouan, could be Saponi. Whatever tribe it may be, they come in with us in the grand entry. So at this time, guys, if you would, Southern Sun, the appropriate grand entry song. Ladies and gentlemen, as we bring in our grand entry, our head lady and head male dancer, our head lady dancer, Miss Indian, North Carolina, Miss Ravendale Stanley, and our head male dancer from the Lumbee Nation, Mr. Bo Goins. All right, a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to all of our dancers in the grand entry. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you see all of the various styles of dancing here that we had, from the men's traditional, the women's traditional, the jingle dress dancers, the fancy dancers, the Eastern Woodlands. We'll showcase as many of those we can today. But right now I want to showcase my jingle dress dancers. So these are known as the healing dancers. So the story goes, as up in the Ojibwe nations and up above the Great Lakes areas, the tribes are not doing very well. So the elders had a dream and had a vision to create a dress from the young ladies to dance, to bring healing back to the tribe. So the young ladies at that time adorned their dresses with shells and with deer hooves and with animal hooves to make the noise. And as you hear these ladies dance, we have grown into taking snuff can lids and rolling those snuff can lids one at a time to make these jingles. So as you hear these ladies dance, it sounds like the beautiful raindrops as it comes back to Mother Earth, as it nourishes the earth and as it nourishes our plants and our animals and brings back life to our tribe and brings back healing. During the powwows, we dance this style of dance for those that are sick or those that are ailing. The young ladies would take their feathers and lay them to their sides and would adorn themselves with tobacco bags and with scarves and would carry that tobacco around and dance for those that are sick. So at this time, Stony Creek, if you would, please give me the appropriate exhibition for our healing dancers, Ladies Jingle. All right, a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, our young people. Thank you for our jingle dress ladies. We'll be calling our men's Southern Straight to come out and for their exhibition. As we see this young man come out, Mr. Bo Goins from the Lumbee Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, he's dressed a little different than others, and this style of dance here comes from the Southern Plains areas and down into the areas of around Texas, to the Comanche people and the Oklahoma and the Poncas and various tribes. And so if you watch this style of dance, these guys are known as the Tuxedo Dancers. They are the best dressed dancers at the powwow, and they're the men's Southern Straight. And the story goes, as these gentlemen are dancing, you'll see them as they're creeping up on an enemy or hunting or counting coup on someone. And as you'll see Bo, he's going to be dancing and telling a story or depicting a hunting trip or depicting history of his tribe or a story that he's telling throughout the tribe. So at this time, Southern Sun, if you would, the appropriate song for our men's Southern Straight exhibition. All right. Southern Straight dancing. All right, a big round of applause for our men's Southern Straight dancer. All right, men's traditional. Men's traditional, if you would, make your way out. Our Northern men's traditional. All right, you guys come on out. So here we go. We have our young Halawasa Pony brother here for our men's traditional style. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the oldest style of dance with our Native American men. This is also known as the war dance. And this style of dance has been around since the creation of our native people by the Creator. So as you watch this young man dance here today from the Halawa Nation, if you watch him dance, he also tells a story of hunting or a hunting party or a war party that they may be telling a story from, or maybe just a family story that he's sharing with his children or sharing with the grandchildren as the elders used to do in this style of dance. You'll watch as you see the steps and you see the movement of the fans, how he'll honor the drum with the honor beats, the hard 3 to 4 beats of the honor beats on the drum. You'll see him honor that drum, or he'll take his war staff, as you see here, and he'll raise it in the air or do certain positions with it to give honor to the Creator and to that song that is being sang. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Stony Creek for our men's Northern traditional exhibition. All right, a big round of applause for our men's traditional exhibition. All right, we'll be calling our women's traditional, making their way into the arena here. So as our ladies come out, ladies and gentlemen, our women's traditional, also known as keepers of the blood. These ladies here, we really hold our ladies to high regards, and a lot of honor goes toward our women and our women's traditional songs here, because our women are the ones that keep our children, help us decide things within our tribe. A lot of the Eastern Woodland tribes are matrilineal societies, which basically the women help make all the decisions when to move the tribe or relocate, or when to have their children in a certain time of the season when it was good for the rest of the tribe. So a lot of good input came from our women, and today we still, as Native men and Native tribal leaders, we honor our women here today. So we'll be singing an appropriate song here as you watch these young ladies dance. Watch the grace and the easement that they do as they dance upon Mother Earth. Watch the shawls as they sway and keep beat with the drums as the fringe on the shawls. They'll take their eagle fans again and give honor to the drum or to the song as they dance here. So again, Southern Sun at this time, exhibition for our women's traditional. All right, a big round of applause for our women's traditional. All right, guys, that will conclude my portion. I'm going to turn over to Miss Sharon Barone. But thank you for being here today. And, guys, we have tons and tons of other things for you to do here today with American Indian Heritage Celebration here this weekend. Miss Sharon.
Thank you very much, JD. Let's hear it one more time, boys and girls, for our dancers and our singers. And let's give a huge round of applause to our MC for today, Mr. J.D. Moore. He does a phenomenal job. We want to say Pilohuk to each of you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here and being so attentive. I also want to remind you of a couple of things. We're going to be exiting up this aisle here. Be sure when you get out in the lobby to get with, of course, your group and decide where you want to go from here. As Ms. Michelle stated in the beginning of the presentation, you want to use your time very wisely. So choose where you'd like to go. When you get there, if it's a long line or too full at the time, move on and come back to something a little bit later. So again, we thank you for coming. We thank you for your participation, and we hope that you have a wonderful day here today. And we encourage you to come back again tomorrow. Bring your parents and your family, and come and enjoy lots of dancing and more activities during the day tomorrow. So thank you. Pilohuk.
come home for Thanksgiving Day. The kids said, Thanksgiving is not real Thanksgiving in our house because we don't have as many people.
Yeah. We just eating.
Well,
A big dinner.
man, there's nothing wrong with it.
I know, right?
I love to eat.
I'll take most of them.
So now who's going to go with you to Alabama?
Trump's gonna
Everybody?
Yeah.
Does it start on Thanksgiving Day or the day before?
Starts Thursday. Thursday and Friday, and it's open Friday night. 2 days.
My mom and dad's been there for a few times. My older brother's gone. It is real nice.
Yeah, I like it there.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
One day.
Good morning. I've heard better. I've heard much better. The group in front of you were kindergartners, and they did better. My golly, I bet you can do better than that. Good morning. That's what I'm talking about. That's worth getting up and doing a show for. Thank you for your enthusiasm. We appreciate it. My name is Michelle Carr, and I work here at the North Carolina Museum of History. And on behalf of everybody who works here, who is all of our wonderful artists and presenters and volunteers, dancers, drummers, singers, everybody you're going to see and meet today, thank you. Thank you so much for coming. If you are here for the very first time, you can raise your hand so I see. That's most of you. Well, you know what? You've got smart teachers because this is an awesome day to be here. So you must be really lucky that your teachers chose to come today. We're so happy you came for our American Indian Education Day. Everything going on in the museum today is dedicated to you learning about our state's rich American Indian history. I'm not from North Carolina, so I'm always so amazed and so excited to learn about the wonderful history of Native Americans in North Carolina. And I'm always excited for today's event and tomorrow, our big American Indian Heritage Celebration, because I love to meet new people and to learn about history and culture. I learn about things that happened thousands of years ago, and I'm learning about things that are happening today. Because history happens every day. We're making history. The people behind me on the stage are making history. We're all connected together, and that's what makes events like this so wonderful. Now, we're all here to see the dance and drumming demonstration. Okay, I got a secret. I think this is the best part of the day, okay? But it's all good. So when we finish here, I know you're going to be excited. You're going to have a lot of energy. You're going to exit up the aisle and go back out in the lobby. You're going to get with your teachers, your parents, your chaperones. You're going to look at the schedule. Every adult should have one. If you need one, you can pick it up at the check-in table. We have events all over the building. This is the lobby level, sometimes called the first floor. We have activities on the third floor, that's above us, and the education wing, which is actually down that way. We also have games outside. If you feel like going outside today, I think it's getting a little warmer. I know some groups are out there. There are activities going on everywhere, probably more than you can even do. And that's good because we're expecting a lot of people today, maybe 2,000 people. That's a lot of people. That's a whole lot of people. Can't fit in my house. Woo! And the way we make them fit here is that we suggest if you are in your group and you go to an activity and there's a long line, you know what? I'd say, I don't want to spend my day in line. I'm going to go see this other activity and then come back here later. And I bet the line will be shorter. That way you get to see more and you get to do the things that you think are the most interesting. We want you to have a good time today. That's actually my last rule. I'm going to tell you a few more, but my biggest rule is have a good time. Do you think you can follow that? All right. My rules aren't too bad. I want to tell you about cameras and photographs because a lot of people, like me, have phones with them with cameras or brought a camera, love to take pictures. The performance up here on the stage, take all the pictures you want. They love it. That's why we're here. Now, if you're going throughout the museum and you see a person and you want to take their picture, especially maybe a dancer or someone who is in the regalia, very beautiful, interesting clothing, just ask them, is it okay if I take your picture? I bet they'll say yes. If someone wanted to take your picture, you'd like them to ask your permission first. That's just good manners. That's all we ask. It's very easy. Now, Now, after the event is over, teachers, in a couple weeks, we're going to send you an evaluation. I hope you will talk to your students and fill it out. Today is about you. We do this for the students. We want to make sure this is the best day it can be. If you've got ideas on how we can make it better, tell us. We want to know. That's what it's all about. You can also send us your photos, hashtag AIED 2018. We're streaming internet today, wanted to let you know. So if you want to be on the internet and you see a camera, give a big smile. Who knows? You could be the next internet celebrity. Might happen. Who knows? Big, exciting day. So that's all I'm going to say, because I want you to enjoy the performance. And you're not here to see me. You are here for what's happening behind me. I believe I'm turning the stage over to, we have two MCs, and I'm going to turn it over to Ryan Stanley, who is here to tell you what's going to happen next. Please give a big hand for our Master of Ceremonies. Woo!
Good morning, everybody. All right, that was okay, but I'm sure you'll be a lot more excited when you see all the wonderful dance we have here today. Is everybody happy to be here? There we go, that's better. And you should be, because we've got really good dancers, some of the best I've seen across the state. We've got really good singers and drummers, so I know for a fact we're all going to have a good time. But real quick, can somebody help me out? You know, I know North Carolina has so many American Indian people. We actually have one of the highest populations of American Indians in the country. There's only a few other states that rival our American Indian populations. But can somebody help me out by telling me how many tribes are in North Carolina? Anybody know? Let's take a wild guess. Somebody spit out a number. I heard 5, little higher, lower than 12. How about 8? 8. So we have 8 tribes in North Carolina. We've got a few of them represented here in our dancers and in our drummers and singers. But the dances we're doing today, these powwow dances, these are done for all tribes across the United States and even in Canada. You know, you can go to powwows all over. You'll see these similar dances. And then we have a couple dances that are specific to different regions. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But real quick, I'm going to ask one of my drum groups, Stony Creek, to give us what's called a grand entry. We're going to get all the dancers out here so you can see them at once. All right, thank you guys. I'm going to ask my women's traditional dancers, at least a couple of them, to stay out there on stage for me. And it's no coincidence that I start with my women dancers. That's very common in a lot of our ceremonies and gatherings and powwows. We always start with our women because American Indian people, we acknowledge the importance of women in our communities. Historically, our people were matrilineal, so what that means is that your family and who you identified with your clan and family was determined by your mom, versus now You know, most time we get our last names from our fathers. It was the opposite a long time ago. And today, a lot of those traditions haven't changed too much. We still greatly, we see the value in our women, how they, you know, hold our communities and our families together. And this style of dance that we have is called the women's traditional dance. It's a very old style. And what you'll notice is when these young women are dancing, it's very graceful, and they step very lightly on Mother Earth. And what would happen was when this dance is done at powwows and other peoples, the women would always dance on the outside while the men and the children would dance on the inside, because the women were the ones who handled all the business within the community, while the men would handle business outside of the community, like speaking with other tribes and declaring war. Women were clan mothers, women were in charge of the agriculture, so they had very important roles. And if you'll notice a little bit about the regalias, even though that they're doing the same style of dance and they have the same style of regalia, they're still very different. You know, there are some pieces that are similar, but each person a lot of times will design their own pieces of regalia, and very commonly they will make pieces of the regalia. So that's why these outfits, and we don't call them costumes, we call them regalias. That's why they're so important to us, because you might get it from a family member, you might have different people in your community make them, so they all have a story and a significance that's unique to the person wearing them. All right, so I'm going to ask our other drums to give us a women's traditional song. All right, thank you. So next style of dance I'm going to have come out is called our men's grass dance. And the reason we call this style of dance that is because a long time ago, out in the plains area, you know, their land is very different than what we see now. In that area, they have these really tall grasslands. And they were so tall that we wouldn't be able to have our ceremonies and our powwows because the grass was too tall and we couldn't dance through it. So before we had nice things like John Deere, lawnmowers, you know, push mower, ride mower, we would actually get these young men to come out and they would literally dance down the grass. And they would be the first ones out at a gathering or ceremony. They would prepare our arena. And we still do this style of dance, and it has changed a little bit. A long time ago, they would actually take that grass they danced down, they would attach it to the regalia. Well, now, just like many of our regalias and our dances, we change and we adapt a little bit. So instead of using that grass, we use things like yarn and ribbon. And if you'll notice when he dances, he kind of mimics that grass that you see in the plains area. He kind of mimics it swaying back and forth. So keep that in mind, keep that story in mind when you see this young man dance. See if you can imagine him preparing our arenas for our ceremony. See if you can picture him dancing down that grass. And I'm going to ask Stony Creek, give me a song for our men's grass dancer. Yeah, I figured y'all would enjoy that. That was pretty cool, won't it? Well, I've got another style of dance, and I think y'all might like this one even more. This has got a lot of movements, a lot of fancy footwork, and that's why it's appropriately named a men's fancy dance. So I'm going to have this young man come out, and this dance, this has a very unique story because this dance actually isn't that old. This dance actually originated around 1940s and 50s. And the reason it did, because a lot of our young men in our communities were going off to battle at the time. And traditionally, the dances men would do, we would act out certain battle styles, we would act out hunting styles. That's why we didn't have a lot of written languages, because we would demonstrate our history through these dances. Well, when these young men would go overseas, they had to tell a different story. They experienced a type of battle that was brand new to them. So we adjusted the dance style a little bit. The drum beat got a little faster. That would represent how fast their heart was beating when they were in foreign lands fighting for our people. And then when the drum gets faster, we have to dance faster, and we have to change the way we dance. So we changed our regalias a little bit. We made them easier to move in. And this young man, he's wearing 2 bustles, that's what they're called, on his shoulder and on his back. Traditionally, men would have just worn one big one. But enable us to dance a little faster and do more moves, we broke it in half and we started wearing 2. So keep that story in mind, and I bet you, I know this young man very well, that the harder you cheer and clap for him, I think he might show out just a little bit more. So I'm going to get our Southern Son, to give us a song for our men's fancy dancers. All right, let's give it up. All right. That was our men's fancy dance. Does everybody agree that that was some pretty fancy moves he just did? Yeah, that's why he's out there doing this and I'm not. So we've got one more style of dance for you. I'm sorry. I apologize. We're actually going to have to cut it right there. We have run out of time. But I hope, did everybody have a good time enjoying seeing the dances? All right, well, on behalf of myself and the indigenous people and the Museum of Natural History in Raleigh, I want to thank everybody for coming here. Thanks to the chaperones and teachers bringing your students here and allowing them to appropriately embrace American Indians people and culture. Thank you.
Boys and girls, let's hear it one more time for all of our singers and dancers. Didn't they do a wonderful job? All right. It sounds like you guys had a great time, so we're expecting you right back here tomorrow with your families. Bring them back out. You'll see lots of dancing, lots of activities taking place tomorrow as well, a few talks as well. So we want to remind you guys when you leave the auditorium here today that you're going to exit up this aisle, and we're going to be bringing in a new group down the other aisle, so please make sure you do that. Miss Michelle is at the top of the ramp to greet you there. And also, when you get in the lobby, make that plan that Miss Michelle mentioned to you earlier about what stations to go to so you can use your time very wisely. Most importantly, have fun. Pilahuk to each of you. Thank you so much for coming in and giving your attention and your respect. Have a great day.
You are the very first group. This is what, number 5, number 4, 5. Well, there have been 4 groups ahead of you, and we've had to have some of them say good morning 2 or 3 times. But I'm not going to ask you to do it because you are ready. You've had the best first good morning all day. That means you're going to be an awesome audience. And when an awesome audience gets an awesome performance, that's how it works. So I think you're going to have a great time. My name's Michelle Carr, and I am so glad you're here at the North Carolina Museum of History. I want to welcome you on behalf of our staff, our volunteers, all the wonderful presenters, demonstrators, artists, dancers, drummers, and singers you will meet and see today. This is our American Indian Education Day. It is a special day. I've told a few groups that if you're here for the first time, then you've got a really smart teacher who said this is the day to go to the museum. They know what they're doing. I wish we could do this every day because it's so much fun. But I'm glad we're doing it here today, and I'm glad you're here today. We are celebrating North Carolina's American Indian Heritage. Actually, it's American Indian Heritage Month. I don't know if you knew that, but it is. So it's a great time of year for us to honor North Carolina's American Indian history. And I say past and present because we have a history, the American Indian community, not me, I'm not Native, but I think the history is wonderful and I love to learn about it. And I'm so glad there are people willing to share it with me, share their history with me and with you, has been in North Carolina for thousands and thousands of years, over 10,000 years, probably about 14,000 I think that we feel pretty comfortable saying, 14,000 years. That's a long time. And it's not over. It's not something just in the past. As you will see, American Indians are alive and well in North Carolina today, living and working and going to school, producing things just like everybody else. They are an important part of our state, and they are proud to share their heritage with you, and I'm honored to be part of it today. Now, because we have such a big crowd today, I know it's pretty full in here, we're going to have about 2,000 people here today. That's a lot of people. And the way we do that is we want everybody to have a good time. Everybody starts in here with dancing and drumming. And between you and me, I think it's the best part of the day. But they're all good, and that's why we have this whole list of activities that your chaperones and teachers have. Because when you leave here and you exit this aisle, you'll go back out to the lobby and you'll get in your group. And I recommend you get in a small group if you can, because it's easier to move through the building. And you look at that list of activities. Might be storytelling that you like, might be the games that are outside. There are activities on the 3rd floor, on this floor, sometimes called the lobby or the 1st floor. Our education wing, they all have restrooms and water fountains, and the games are outside. And there's some demonstrations outside too. So there's just a lot going on. The only floor that has nothing going on, well, really it has offices, is the 2nd floor. So you will see people getting on and off, but there are no activities going on there today, so you don't need to worry about the 2nd floor. So I recommend you get in your group, you look at those activities, and you say, what sounds the most interesting to me? And that's where you go. Don't try to do them like in a numerical order, or don't try to worry about hitting everything. There's just not enough time. That's how we make room for 2,000 people, is have a lot of stuff going on. If you get to an activity and there's a long line, yes, you can stand there and wait. I personally would think, I want to see as much as I can. So I'd probably move to another activity and then come back a little later, and I bet the line will be shorter. And you'll get to see and do more that way. I have a few rules I want to go over. They're very simple. Anybody here have a camera? Likes to take pictures? Well, if you do, I've got mine in my pocket. All the performers that are going to be on the stage, dancers, singers, drummers, they expect you to take their picture while they're performing. They're fine with it. If you see someone out who you go up to a station, or you see a dancer and their regalia walking on the floor and you want to take their picture, just ask their permission first. That's all. I bet they'll say yes. You'd want someone to ask your permission before they took your picture. It's the same thing. We're going to be live streaming today, so that's why you'll see cameras around the building. If you don't want to be on live stream, don't look at camera. You want to be on live stream and be an internet celebrity, give us a big smile. Somebody might see you out there. Now, I do have one big rule. It's the one rule I ask everybody to obey. Okay, you're going to listen to it and you think, okay? Listen very carefully. I'm a stickler on this one. I'm pretty easygoing except for this one rule. Have a good time. All right? You think you can do that for me? Yeah? All right. Well, thank you. We want you to have a good time. I'm going to turn the mic over to our host, Mr. J.D. Moore. Please give him a big hand, everybody.
Thank you, Miss Michelle. Welcome, everyone, and we're sure glad to have you here this weekend. This is Indian Heritage Month, and again, we're here this weekend at the North Carolina Museum of History celebrating American Indian Heritage Month, and our celebration we have here this weekend, as Ms. Carr said, return tomorrow. Bring your families and friends. We have a full-day powwow exhibitions all day tomorrow, so if you don't get enough today, please come back tomorrow. But today, we're going to give you a short little synopsis or a little snipe of what we do every day as Native people. We have dancing and singing and various traditions that we have throughout the Native cultures. Does anyone know how many state-recognized tribes there are in the state of North Carolina? Can I get a hand? Right here in the back, yes. 8, good job. All right, A+ in American Indian history right there, so good job. 8 state-recognized tribes. You'll see a few of those here today. The majority of those guys are all here dancing with us today. And we have our drums here with us today. To my left, your right, we have Stony Creek, our northern drum group here with us today, which consists of the Halawasa Ponies and Wakamasuan tribal members sitting on that drum. And then to my right, and your left will be the Southern Sun drum group. They consist of Lumbee, Halawasa Pony, and Siouan. And we have Kahari singers also that's not with us today. So a lot of tribes represented here today. We'll have full representation of all of our state-recognized tribes tomorrow. But guys, we're going to dance a little bit here. We're going to show off our dancers. So when we bring our dancers out, we bring them out into what we call a grand entry. We bring all of our dancers out. We showcase all the styles of dance, no matter what the affiliation of tribe. It's a state tribe, a federal tribe, or any tribe across the United States. We invite them to come into our grand entry. So I'm going to ask to see which one did I ask. Southern Sun, was it? Southern Sun to bring in my grand entry here. So at this time, Southern Sun, grand entry, all dancers, grand entry. All right, a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for all of our dancers here in the grand entry. All right, good job, guys. As you see, multiple dancers, that's just a small amount of dancers that come in with our grand entry. So I've asked a couple gentlemen to stay with us here, our men's traditional and our eastern woodlands. Can anyone tell me which is northern men's traditional and which is eastern woodlands? Yes, ma'am. So what is this guy? Northern traditional or eastern woodlands? I said, he's northern traditional, he's eastern woodlands. All right. So they're both men's traditional dancers. Good try, though, guys. These are both men's traditional dancers. But our style of dance here being Native American and eastern woodlands, you see Kea here to my right. So we have this style of dance here. And as you see, he does not have the bustle, but he has the adornment of the headgear here and the eagle feathers as he dances the eastern woodland style. And you'll notice he still has the breastplate for the protection of war when he's in battle to keep the arrows or enemy spears from penetrating his body. And as you see, the men's northern traditional, also known as the war dancers and stuff, this is the oldest style of dance along with our Eastern Woodland styles. But he has the bustle, the eagle bustles, as you see. And you'll see both of these gentlemen here as they dance. One will be telling a story, depicting a hunt, depicting a war trip, a hunting party, depicting those stories. So look when they're dancing to see if you can tell what story they're telling. Are they telling a story of war? Are they telling a story of a hunting expedition? Or are they telling a family story to their children or their grandchildren? So at this time, Stony Creek, if you would, our men's northern and eastern woodlands. Oh, good sneak up song. All right, a big round of applause for our Eastern Woodlands and men's northern traditional good song there from Stony Creek as they sing a sneak up. These guys are telling the story how they sneak up on prey or upon an enemy to count coup. So I'm going to call out my ladies traditional dancers, my ladies traditional, making your way out to the arena here. So as we come out, you see these ladies here in the two styles. We have a northern and southern style of ladies traditional. And you'll see when they start to dance, just a slight difference in the style of their footwork. So pay close attention to that. But as you watch these ladies dance and how soft they step upon Mother Earth and how soft that they treat the song, and you'll see the swaying of their shawls as they keep beat with the drum. And these ladies are also known as the keepers of the blood, because our ladies are the ones that we hold high regard and respect for, because they raise our children and make decisions with our children and our tribal members to help us as Native people stay strong. And we listen to these ladies, and we listen to these songs as these guys sing and our drums sing. And it tells the stories of these ladies, how they've come through the generations and created us as Native people and kept us. So at this time, if you would, Southern Sun, the appropriate exhibition song for our ladies traditional. All right, a big round of applause for our ladies traditional. All right, thank you, ladies. We'll be calling out our ladies jingle dress dancers. Ladies jingle making their way in. These ladies, as you hear them come in, what do you hear, guys? What sound? A jingle sound, or a beautiful sound there. And what does it sound like to you, that jingle sound? And it's happened all this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Rain, yeah. First pretty day of the week, rain. So the story goes, as the young ladies here, they'll be dancing this song here, the jingle dress song. The story goes of the tribes that needed healing up in the northern parts of the country, the Ojibways, and up in the Great Lakes areas in the southern Canadian areas. And as they danced this style, the story goes as they created a dress to bring healing back to the tribe. So at our powwows now, we will bring out these ladies here to have healing songs for those that are sick in the community and sick in the tribe. So we'll give the appropriate exhibition song from Stony Creek at this time for our ladies' jingle dress. All right, a big round of applause to ladies jingle dress dancers. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for being here with us today. I'm going to turn the mic over to Miss Sharon Barone from the Halawasa Pony Nation, and she'll be closing out with us. Miss Sharon.
Thank you so much, J.D. Let's have another big round of applause for Mr. J.D. Moore, our MC, as well as our dancers and our singers. We really hope that you guys have enjoyed your time here in the auditorium with us. While we hate to say goodbye, it is time for us to switch places here. So just a reminder, Ms. Michelle at the beginning suggested that you plan your activities as you make your way to our demonstrators and vendors. So please remember to do that. Stay with your groups. And if it's a long line at a station, just go ahead to another one and come back to the crowded station a little later. So we want to say Bilahuk to each of you. Thank you so much for your participation. Remember to have fun. Have a wonderful day, and we look for you guys tomorrow. All right, we want to remind everybody to make sure you exit on this side of the room, please. Exit on this side of the room.
guys, looks like a full house. If there is an empty seat next to you, will you raise your hand so we can find some empty seats? I have one down here. Oh, okay. There's a person sitting there, but I do have one over here. We're going to be in here about 15 minutes or so if you can get a seat, boy, I'd want one. How are we doing up there? All right. I see one over here against the wall. So we still have one if someone needs a seat. Over here, Miss Becky is pointing. Miss Becky in the plaid shirt can help you. Think you can't? All right. Woo, this is the biggest crowd all yet, which means I expect a lot of noise. Good morning. Ask and ye shall receive, the good book says. All right, I'm very impressed. You look like a good group. You sound like a good group. And because of that, we're going to give you a good show. I promise you that. My name is Michelle Carr, and I work here at the North Carolina Museum of History. And on behalf of all of our staff, our volunteers, and the wonderful, talented artists, presenters, demonstrators, drummers, singers, and dancers who have come here today to share their talent with you, thank you for coming and being our audience. We are in November, which a lot of people think of as almost Christmas or Thanksgiving time or turkey time. Those are all good. But November is also something else. It's American Indian Heritage Month. Who knew that? Anybody? Very good. I'm so impressed. And that's why we are having our American Indian Education Day in November. We actually celebrate in North Carolina, we can and should and do honor American Indian history every day of the year, but November is a special month to really reflect on the Native peoples who settled in North Carolina. There have been American Indians in North Carolina for over 14,000 years. And there are American Indians in North Carolina today, very much. So American Indian history, it is a lot. There's a lot that is from the past, but it's changing and evolving. Some of it continues, new history happens. So it's exciting history to study. Exciting history to study everybody's history. Now, at the museum today, we start out all the groups here in the dance and drumming demonstration, which is a great part of the show. This is the only thing that everybody has to see, because we schedule you for this. After this, you'll exit and go back out to the lobby. You'll get with your teachers, your parents, your chaperones. All of you should have a schedule, all the adults, and if you don't, we can get you one at the check-in desk, and you can see all the activities going on throughout the museum. We're on the lobby or first floor. You'll hear people call it both. There are activities all over this level. Up on the third floor, and we have elevators and stairs to get up there. Second floor is just offices, so don't worry about it. We get on and off there, but there's no activities. We have an education wing down at the end, all the way down to your left, activities down there, and we even have games going on outside. So there are things everywhere. So we have so many activities and spread out because we have 2,000 people here today. So what that means is we need a lot of things going on, so you have a lot of things to do. And we try to keep the lines moving. When you break into your small groups, decide what activities sound fun to you. Is it storytelling? Is it clay pottery? Is it games, blue darts and chunky? They all sound good to me. You pick the ones that sound most interesting to your group, and you go, and that's where you go next. Now, if there's a long line, you know what? I would move to another activity and come back, because I want to see as much as I possibly can. Now, I'm going to let you decide if you want to wait in the line or go. But everything else is just sort of happening throughout the day. So you want to see as much as you can. Not going to see everything. That's okay. Anybody who can come back to Raleigh tomorrow, maybe you live in the Triangle, I would hope you do come back, because tomorrow is our 23rd annual American Indian Heritage Celebration. It's everything you see today and more. We'll have the dancing and drumming outside. We'll have 75 dancers tomorrow, 75, just to give you a sense of how much bigger tomorrow is. It's right after the Christmas parade, so I hope you join us. I want to go over just a few little rules. Photography and filming. A lot of people have their cameras. I've got mine in my pocket on my phone. All the performances up here on the stage, take all the pictures you want. But as you're going throughout the building and you see someone, maybe an artist, maybe a dancer in regalia, and you want to take his or her picture, just ask their permission first. I'm sure they'll say yes. But you know, it's always polite to ask. You'd want them to do that for you. That's all. Now, we're going to send your teachers an evaluation electronically in a few weeks after the event. Please give us all the feedback. It's okay to tell us how we can make it better. In fact, tell us that, because this is your event. This is for you and your students. If you're not having a good time, then that's not what it's about. If you're not learning, you're not enjoying yourself. That's what today is about. So, that is it. That is actually my last rule, is have a good time. Is that a hard one? No. All right, so my rules aren't too bad, are they? All right, I'm going to turn the microphone over to our host, Mr. Ryan Dial Staley. Oh, thank you. And have a great day. Let's listen to what he has to say. He's going to tell you a lot of cool stuff.
All right, is everybody excited? Yes. All right, I've heard you got a big day planned, but I hope this is one of your favorite parts, and it should be. We've got a lot of great dancers, professionals. We've got great singers and drummers, and I'm going to make sure that this is one best experiences you have here. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be doing different examples of Native American powwow dancing. And what powwow dancing is interesting, they're a little different than some of our ceremonial dances. These are dances we do at public events and gatherings, just like we're here now. We do this to show our culture, and this is probably the best way people can appropriately learn about American Indian culture, help us embrace American Indian Heritage Month. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your day, and I know everybody's going to be a great audience while we learn these dances. So the first style of dance I'm going to have come out is called our Minj Southern Straight Dance. So now, what's interesting about this style of dance, all of our dances, they tell a story. They have their own history to them. And the history with this dance is one of us indigenous people having to adapt. So this dance started in the Southern Plains area, hence the name Southern Straight Dance. This started in that area because at the time, around the 1800s, the U.S. government actually made it illegal to practice our traditions, like our dances, our stories. They made it illegal to hold our gatherings and ceremonies and our powwows. So instead of giving up our culture, what we did instead is we learned to adapt. So we changed aspects of the dances and aspects of the regalia to mask our ceremonies and our powwows. So we could do them in secret and private, and we would adapt our regalia to look a little bit more like the European tuxedos and formal wear. We changed the dances just a little bit to mimic their ballroom style dances, so we could do these gatherings and these dances in secret. So that's what you're going to see here when my friend here is dancing. You're going to see him kind of mimic that European style, but it's still our culture, and it's still something we're proud of, and it's done at many powwows all across the country, even powwows in Canada. And this is a very popular dance. So remember that history when you look at this dance. And we're going to ask our Southern drum, Southern Son, to give us a song for our straight dancer. Could everybody see a little bit what I was talking about? Did it kind of look like that really old school, ballroom style dancing, standing up straight, strutting around? Everybody kind of notice that? Good. Well, this next style of dance is called a Minj grass dance. This dance, again, started around the same area. This is in the Southern Plains area, so this is in places like Oklahoma, down in that area, people like the Comanche, the Ponca, the Kiowa. And this dance started because in that particular area, they have a very interesting geography, and they have a very different land than what we're used to here. See, over there, they have these very, very tall grasslands. And they're so tall that sometimes they would stop us from holding our ceremonies and gatherings because we couldn't dance because the grass was so tall. And this was way long time ago, before we had nice things like John Deere, riding lawn mowers, push mowers. We didn't have none of that back in these days. But instead, we had dancers like this, the grass dancers. And they would actually come out before the ceremony started, and they would dance down the grass and prepare the arena for our other dancers. And just like a lot of our things, you know, it has a history, but sometimes things adapt and things change. So a long time ago, Minj's grass dancers' outfit or regalia would have included those long pieces of grass. And the way they would dance, that grass would sway back and forth just like it does when it's on the ground. If you ever drive by in that area and the wind blows, you can see that grass just kind of sway back and forth. And that's kind of what our dancers look like. Well, instead of wearing that long grass on our regalias now, we use more modern materials like yarn, we use ribbons, we use these bright colors and fabrics. A lot of our dances, we have competition dancing, so we make our regalias a little more bright, you know, a little more lively for judges and for audience. But that doesn't make it any less authentic. You know, it's still authentic Native American culture, and like all of our dances, it's very popular and widely done all across the country. So try to see that in this next dance. Try to picture him dancing down that grass and preparing the ground for our ceremonies. And we're going to ask our drum again to give us a song for our Minj's grass dancer. Did y'all enjoy that dance? Could you see him pat down the grass? Yeah. All right. Well, that's not all. We still got a couple more dances we want to show y'all. So our next style of dance we're going to have, this is called a Minj traditional dance, and he's wearing an Eastern Woodland style regalia. And our Minj traditional dance is a very old dance done by men from many tribes, and we use these dances to tell our stories. See, American Indian people a long time ago, we didn't really use many written languages. We didn't write down history in books, but we didn't really have to. We kept our histories and our cultures through things like dancing, through storytelling, and that's how we kept these traditions alive. So when he's dancing, that's what he's going to be doing. He's going to be telling a story. It might be of a battle. It might be of a hunt. And I say Eastern Woodland because the particular regalia he's wearing is something that my ancestors and the indigenous people of this area would have worn a long time ago. And I think sometimes the books don't give us an accurate picture. A lot of times you see people and they're wearing all buckskin. You know, they might not be wearing a lot of buckskin depending on where you're at. It gets pretty hot, you know, around here in the South. And that is true for a certain time, but Native American people didn't stay like that for very long. Once Europeans got here, there was very complex trade networks between other tribes and between European settlers like the Spanish and French and the indigenous people. So that's how we get things like these silver pieces and copper. We get these different fabrics to make our clothes out of that work a little better than buckskin. You know, it's not as hot, it's a little lighter. So that's why you see him wearing these elements of his regalia. Would have traded for things like the garters around his knees. Those are something typically worn by French settlers. The Spanish brought a lot of metals, like his arm cuffs. That's something Spanish settlers wore, made out of silver and bronze. But we still keep aspects of our traditional wear, just like his headdress. That's still something. It's got the same feathers that my people wore, the turkey, hawk feathers, eagle feathers. So that shows how Native American people, you know, culture can change, and it doesn't make it less authentic. You know, we're still the same Native people. So think about that when he's dancing, and try to picture him telling that story. See what kind of story he's telling. Is he hunting? Is he in war? And we're going to ask our drum to give him a song. This is our Minj Eastern Woodland traditional dance. All right, so what do y'all think? Do y'all think he was in battle? Yeah, that's kind of what it looked like, didn't it? You see, when he dances, he keeps that position, a fighting stance. He's never looking down. He's always looking out, and he's not just dancing in a circle. He's looking around, scouting, looking for the enemy. So that's the kind of story we tell with our dances. And with this next style of dance, it's got another very interesting story. It's called the Men's Fancy Dance, and I'm sure you'll know why once you see it. He's got some pretty fancy stuff going on. So I'm going to have that young man come out real quick and do that dance for us. Now, this dance, it's a little different than the one you just saw. This dance actually isn't that old. This dance originated around 1940s and 50s. And just like I said with our men's dance, we tell stories of battle and wars. Well, around the 1940s, anybody know what was happening around that time? Right, it was World War II. And many people don't know this, but American Indians across the country have higher enlisting rates in the military than almost any other ethnic group. So it is very common for men in our community to go and fight in these foreign places and protect, our sovereign nations and our land. And that's what happened during World War II. We had a large amount of men leave and go to these different lands. And when they came back, the dances we have to describe our battles, like Eastern Woodland Dancer just did, they didn't describe what they saw overseas. It was a very different style of battle. The weapons got more sophisticated. Bullets were flying everywhere. It was very different. So what they did is they changed the dance to tell a different story. So they sped the drum up to represent how fast their heart would be beating while they were over there. And they changed the regalia in order to do more fancy footwork and a lot more vibrant moves. So traditionally, we would have wore one bustle. So the bustle are these things on his back. Traditionally, we would have worn one made out of eagle feathers or turkey or hawk feathers. Well, so we could do more moves, we actually made them into two and put them on our shoulders and our backs so we can move around a lot better. And just like all our regalias, we use different materials. So instead of eagle feathers, we use these dyed feathers of various birds to make them more vibrant. Again, this is a competition dance. So a lot of times they'll be doing moves to get the judges' attention. They'll make the regalias bright for everybody to see. And keep that in mind, because I think when he does this dance, I guarantee that the harder you cheer and clap for him, I think he'll start busting out some better moves. So let's see if that's true when he does this dance. All right, Southern Son. Y'all make some noise for my young fella. Let's see what he busts out. Woo! Hook. Hey. Yeah. So, I don't know if some of my other dancers will agree with me, but how many of y'all think I saved one of the best for last, huh? Everybody like that? Yeah, sorry to my other dancers, but sometimes you got it like that and sometimes you just don't, and I don't. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Y'all been a great audience, and on behalf of myself and the staff here at the museum, I want to thank you for taking the time, for the teachers and chaperones for bringing the kids down here, and again, helping us appropriately embrace American Indians people and culture, and more importantly, helping us celebrate American Indian Heritage Month. So Nyahweh, thank you.
All right, boys and girls, let's hear it for all of our dancers and singers once again. And also, big round of applause for Mr. Ryan Dial Stanley, our MC for this session. We're so proud of the work that he's doing, and he's an MC in training, so I take my hat off to him today for doing a wonderful job. Just a couple of reminders before you guys start moving. We're going to respectfully ask that you exit this aisle due to other groups entering on this side. So all groups will exit on this side. Don't forget, before you move, don't forget to plan your activities out. Map it out. Go to the stations. If it's too many people at a station, move on to the next one. Have fun, guys.
y'all want to, it's up to y'all. Hey, right yonder, in there front row, that's where we got all our stuff. We've been sitting.
They say you're like shelter, the storm.
Good afternoon. I think I'll take a nap. Good afternoon. All right. I know that it's been a long day for some of you, and some of you have a school bus to catch. We are very aware, but we want you to have a great show, so we're determined to get started right away. My name's Michelle Carr. I work here at the Museum of History. Thank you so much for coming to the museum for our American Indian Education Day. We do this every year. Tomorrow we'll do our American Indian Heritage Celebration, 23rd year. That's right, I've been to 19, that's pretty good. It's everything for today and even more. So if you can come back tomorrow, I hope you will. We do it every Saturday before Thanksgiving. So remember that date, Saturday before Thanksgiving. All right, a little housekeeping and then I'm going to get the show on the road. If you want to take photographs of anything happening on the stage, go for it, go for it. But if you see somebody else walking around and you think, oh, I love their clothing, may I take their picture? Just ask them first. I bet you they'll say yes. It's just the polite thing to do. That's it. We're going to be live streaming today, so you might see some cameras. You want to be on the internet? Give it a big smile. You don't want to be on the internet? Go, not me. All right. When you leave here, those of you who can stay, I know some are going back to school, I recommend you go back out to the lobby, get into a small group with your teachers and chaperones, look over the schedule, and decide what you want to do. There are more activities than you can probably do, and that's how we accommodate 2,000 people in a day. So you pick an activity and you go there. If there's a long line, you can stand in it. I won't say you can't, but I'd go somewhere else where I can do something and then come back because you want to do as much as you can, all right? We'll send you evaluations after the event. Please tell us how we can make it better. Other than that, this is about you, and it's also about sharing our state's wonderful American Indian heritage. So I'm going to turn the stage over to our host, Mr. J.D. Moore of the Wakaman Siouan people. Yes, give it a big
All
hand.
right. Thank you, Ms. Carr. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And I won't be before you long because I know some of you guys has got to catch the bus back to school here pretty short. But I'm going to just thank you for coming out for American Indian Heritage Celebration here at the Museum of History. And we just thank you for what you're doing, and we just hope that you've learned a lot today. But I've got one of my drum groups. I got one on lunch, but I got one of my drum groups here, Stony Creek, here with me, my northern drum group, and they are a champion drum group from Hollister, North Carolina, the Hiawatha Pony Tribe. So, guys, we're going to be going right into our exhibitions here, and I'm going to start with my ladies traditional. Make your way out, ladies, and as they're coming out, explain a little bit about these ladies traditional. We have a northern and southern ladies cloth here, traditional dance. And as you watch these dance, these ladies are known as keepers of the blood. And as you watch them dance, these young ladies here, you'll watch the gracefulness of their footsteps and how they're real easy upon Mother Earth. You'll see them pay honor beats with the fans and their eagle fans during the honor song, or it's basically the song, and you have the honor beats there. And then also watch the young ladies as they dance the footwork, and tell me if you can tell the difference between the northern and southern style. There's a small difference in their footwork as you're seeing it. So at this time, Stony Creek, give me the appropriate exhibition song for ladies traditional. All right, a big round of applause for our ladies traditional dancers. Ladies traditional be coming out in the arena here next. We're bringing out our men's traditional and our Eastern Woodlands traditional men. So our first young man here from the Hiawatha Pony Nation, he is a northern men's traditional dancer, also known as the war dancers. As you see, he's adorned there with the one eagle bustle there, the eagle fan, and his war staff. If he's counting coup on an enemy, or he's going to a hunting party or an enemy raid. The second dancer here from the Lumbee Nation here, my brother here from the Eastern Woodlands tribe. This is the Eastern style of dance, the old style as we call it, of the Eastern Native Americans, which is all of us here in the state of North Carolina. So as you watch these young men dance, watch and look for the story that they're telling. Are they on a hunting party? Are they looking for game? Are they looking for enemies? Or are they telling a story about their family or some relation that they're teaching their children or grandchildren? So at this time, Stony Creek, if you would, the appropriate men's traditional song. All right, a big round of applause for our men's traditional Eastern Woodlands and American Northern men's traditional. Thank you, guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call out young ladies here will be coming out for our ladies jingle dress dancers. Our ladies jingle, please make your way out. Also known as the healing dancers, ladies and gentlemen. And so as we look here at these ladies here, and I would just like to introduce, ladies, we are in the presence of royalty here today, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Indian, North Carolina, Miss Ravendale Stanley is with us today. So she is our representative for all of our tribes here in the state of North Carolina. So wonderful to have her with us this weekend here, and her busy away from school and college and working with us this weekend. But guys, look at these ladies here, and as they walked out, you heard the beautiful jingle sound that was made. What does that remind you of? Close to Christmas, but what has it done 3 days this week in a row? Rain, yes, it rained. So the story goes is the tribes up in the northern plains areas in the Ojibways and Canada and up around the Great Lakes areas that the tribes are not doing very well. And as the elders in the tribes had the dreams and told the stories of the young ladies to create a dress and a style of dance that would bring healing back to the tribe. So the young ladies took animal hooves and different animal hooves and adorned the dresses. And as they danced, it made the sound of the rain coming back to replenish the earth, replenish animals, therefore replenishing the tribe. So at this time here, these ladies here will give an exhibition for our ladies jingle, as we do a lot of times in our powwows, that we have this jingle dress dance for those that are sick, and we offer this dance to the Creator and ask for healings. So at this time, Stony Creek, if you would, ladies jingle dress, the healing dance. All right, a big round of applause for our ladies jingle dress dancers, the healing dancers. The last one I'm going to bring on, guys, I'm going to call my men's grass dancer. My men's grass, as he's making his way around. These guys are grabbing lunch and drinks and all kind of stuff. But while he's coming, let me ask a question. How many state-recognized tribes are there in the state of North Carolina? Does anyone know by show of hands? Yes, sir. Cherokee, that's one tribe, but how many? What's the number? Yes, ma'am. 5? 8, that's correct. 8 state-recognized tribes in the state of North Carolina. We have one of the greatest populations of native people in the state of North Carolina. Did you know what is the largest tribe east of the Mississippi? And they live here in North Carolina. Lumbee, exactly. That is correct. The Lumbee people. So that is a very good accomplishment, we as native people here in the state. So a large presence of native people here in the states, and we're very proud of that. So ladies and gentlemen, bringing my grass dancer on here. This is our men's grass. Well, before we had lawnmowers and different things to cut down the grasses, we didn't have Husqvarnas and John Deeres, so we had to bring these young guys out to dance the grasses down so our elders could come dance. And they would prepare the circle, known as preparers of the circle. So they would come out and dance the grasses down. So Chayton's going to give us an example of a good grass dance song as he's preparing the circle for the elders and other dancers. So at this time, men's grass. All right, a big round of applause for our men's grass exhibition there. All right, thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for today. That concludes our last exhibition here for this session. And thank you again, and I hope we learned something today. And remember, November is Indian Heritage Month, so really study on something Native American. Miss Sharon Barone, if Halawa.
Thank you so much, J.D. Let's now get another big round of applause for Mr. J.D. Moore, awesome MC. As well as our dancers and our singers, we want to thank them, and we say Pilahuk to each of you. Thank you so much for coming in, being so respectful, and giving us your undivided attention. Couple of things I want to echo. When you leave here, those of you who are able to stay a little while longer with us, make sure, as Ms. Michelle stated, that you map out your activities. We definitely want you to take full advantage of each and everything that we have to offer here and use your time wisely. So please be sure to do that. Stay with your groups, maybe break into the small groups as well. And we thank you so much. We want to make sure that you also exit on this aisle here, as we're going to be bringing in another group down the aisle to my left. So again, we say Pilahuk, thank you, and we hope that each of you have a wonderful day. Be sure to come back and bring your families tomorrow as well. Thank you.
Mic check one. Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Good afternoon. Okay, that wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. So I'm going to try it again. Good afternoon. That's what I like to hear. That tells me you're awake and you're ready for a performance because we have got a show for you. We are here at the North Carolina Museum of History. I work here. My name's Michelle Carr, and I want to thank you for coming today on behalf of all of the staff, volunteers, and the wonderful, talented artists you will see behind me on stage throughout the museum. They are all here to share American Indian history and heritage with you because November is American Indian Heritage Month. I don't know if you knew that, but it is. That's why we host American Indian Education Day in November. And tomorrow we will host our 23rd annual American Indian Heritage Celebration. It's like everything but today, but even more. We'll probably have 70, 75 dancers tomorrow, just to give you a sense of how big it's going to be. We'll have to do the dancing outside. They can't all fit on the stage. But today is just for school groups. And I'm so glad you're here. We are going to start out with the dance and drumming demonstration. That's going to be on the stage right here where I am. So if you can see me, you have a good seat, I promise you. Now, after we finish here, this is the one activity that we want everybody to do because it's so awesome. But afterwards, you're going to exit up and go back to the lobby. You're going to get with your chaperones, your teachers, your parents. Probably in your small groups, you'll look at the schedules the adults have. They have a list of all the activities taking place in the museum. We have activities throughout the first floor or lobby. That's the floor we're on here. The third floor, bless you. And the education wing, which is all the way down to the end to your left. And even games are going on outside and demonstrations. We have so much going on because we have 2,000 people here today. And the way that we accommodate 2,000 people is we have lots of things for them to do. So you get with your small group and you look at the schedule and you choose the things that are the most interesting to you. Storytelling, weapon demonstration, games, canoe making. You decide. We want you to have a good time. If you go to an activity and there's a long line, you can stand there. But to maximize your time, I'd probably go on to another activity and then come back. That way you'll get to do more activities. I find that works best. I have a few rules I want to go over. Photography. Everything up here on the stage, take all the pictures and film you want. Don't even worry about it. Just snap away. However, as you go throughout the museum and you meet people and you want to take their pictures, just ask their permission first. I'm sure they'll tell you yes. They would ask your permission before they take your picture. That's just a good courtesy. Not only today, but every day. So it's just a little rule to remember. All right. We're going to send evaluations out to teachers when this is over. And I hope you tell us what you liked. And if you didn't like something, tell us that too. Because we do this every year. We want to make it better. So you tell your parents, you tell your teachers, this was really cool. Or, I thought it would be cool, but it could be better by doing this. That's okay. Tell us the truth. We can take it. We want to know. All right. We're going to be live streaming today. So if you see some cameras, give them a wave and a smile. You could be an internet celebrity. Who knows? Hey, that sounds pretty cool. So there's a lot going on. I know you're going to have a good time. That's actually a rule. You know what? Have a good time. I think that's a pretty easy rule. That's my last rule of the day. I'm going to turn the stage over to our master of ceremonies, a member of the Lumbee people. Lumbee, remember that name, Mr. Ryan Dial Stanley.
All right, guys, is everybody doing all right today? Yeah. Y'all ready to see some different dances, have a good time? All right, well, we've got a good show for y'all today. We're going to be demonstrating American Indian powwow dances. And I'll tell a little more about each dance as we exhibition them off. But just real quick, I got to ask y'all a question. I need a little help with something. Can somebody remind me how many tribes are in North Carolina? Somebody. Okay, a little less. 8. I heard 8 a few times. Somebody say 8. All right, so y'all been paying attention when you've been here, so that's right. There's 8 tribes that are in North Carolina. We've got a lot of them represented here today in our drum groups and our dancers. We've got people from the Lumbee Nation, the Waccamaw Siouan, the Halawa Saponi. Anything else? I don't know. We've got a few here. So real quick, we're just going to have all our dancers come out in what's called a grand entry. This is how we start a lot of our powwows. Gives you a chance to see everybody. You know, you can pick out which one you really want to see. And hopefully you'll get to see them be an exhibition, and I'll explain a little more about the dance and how it started and about what they're wearing. So real quick, we're going to do a grand entry. I'm going to ask Southern Sun to give that one to me. So I'm asking a couple young women to stay out here. These are my women's jingle dress dancers. So like I mentioned before, all of our dances have their own unique history and story. And the story behind this dance actually starts with the Ojibwe people. They are indigenous people kind of northwest of here, up in the Canada region and in Michigan. And the story of this dance started a long time ago with an Ojibwe elder. And he had a granddaughter who was very ill. And none of the medicine men could explain her sickness or what was causing it. So, being very worried, the grandfather would pray every night until one night he had a vision. He had a dream that night. And in his dream, he saw these women, and they were wearing this new style of regalia. They were doing a new style of dance that nobody had done before. It was something he had never seen. And the particular dresses they were wearing at the time, they're made completely out of buckskin, and they had 7 rows of deer toes around the dress. And what happened is when they danced and they would bounce to the drum, these deer toes would actually make a similar sound that I'm sure we all have heard before. Anybody give a little demonstration? That sound a little familiar? It's been going on all week. Kind of sound like some weather we've had lately. Yeah, it kind of sounds like rain a little bit. Well, in our cultures, that rain symbolizes a healing, washing away bad spirits, bad medicine, and any sickness. So when the grandfather woke up, he got to work, and he made these dresses, and he had 4 women in his community wear this dress and do this style of dance around his granddaughter in the 4 directions, and she was healed after that. And to this day, we still use this dance as a healing dance. It can be asked for special occasions at powwows. And the dancers who still carry on this tradition will still be holding their side, on their left side, to symbolize where that young woman had her original pain. So remember that when you see this dance and all of our dancers, there's always a story in our history, and things can change. So I said that original dress was made out of buckskin and deer toes. Well, throughout time, we adapted our regalias a little bit. We use new materials. So nowadays, you'll find fabrics that you can find at fabric stores, different cottons, and now we use these tin cones to make that same sound like rain. And that's the same with all of our dances. They change and we adjust, but they're just as authentic, and they still have the same meaning. So I'm going to ask my northern drum group, Stony Creek, to give us a song for our women's jingle dress dancers. All right, thank you. So next style of dance I'm going to have come out, these are called our women's traditional dancers. Come out, somebody. Got a few back there. And this dance is very special. You know, you might not see a lot of that fancy footwork that you see in other dances, but this dance is very important. You see, a long time ago at powwows and at gatherings, the women would usually dance very gracefully. They had slower steps, and they would do this dance on the outside of the arena and of the circle, and the men and the children would dance on the inside. And that represents how important American Indian women are to our communities. Historically, they held very high roles, such as clan mothers, and they would advise the chief and other men of the tribe, so chief couldn't make any decisions without approval from the clan mothers. Women were in charge of the agriculture, so they were in charge of all the food and the economy of the tribe. And even today, women still hold very important roles in our communities. They hold our families and our communities together. They keep our traditions alive, and they do one of the most important things is keep our people alive with the gift they were given of giving life. So think about that when you see this dance, you know. Think about the importance of maybe women in your life, and think about how can it relate to American Indian people. You know, we've always been matrilineal societies, so your family was always determined by the woman. So that's how important they were to our people. So without further ado, we're going to have our Southern Drum Group give us a women's traditional dance. So what you just saw was our women's traditional dancer. Now I'm going to bring out our men's traditional dancer. And this is another style of dance that's been done with many different peoples around the country. And it's used to tell a story. You see, a long time ago, it's very different than what we have now. Now when we learn, we read things in books. And, you know, we read textbooks. But a long time ago, our people in future generations would be taught a little differently. They would learn through demonstrations and through storytellings. So that's what we're doing with these dances. We're each telling a story, especially this young man here. Men would do this dance to tell stories of hunts, tell stories of specific battles. So that's what you'll see when he's dancing. He's going to be keeping a warrior's posture. He's going to always be looking out. He might look down. He might be scouting. He's not going to just dance in a circle. He's going to weave in and out. He might be looking for something. So try to think about that while he's dancing. See what he's doing. See what kind of story he's telling. And I'm gonna ask my Northern Drum Group, Stony Creek, to give us a song for our men's Northern traditional. So what do y'all think? Could y'all see him tell that story? Anybody see him maybe hunting or maybe at a battle? Did somebody see that? We doing all right on time? All right, so real quick before you leave, has everybody had a good time so far? Like what you saw? Well, I've got one more style of dance that I want to bring out that I know for a fact everybody's going to want to see. So what I'm going to bring out next is our men's fancy dancer. And in a couple minutes, you'll know exactly why we call it that dance. The story behind this dance, like I mentioned before, the men's traditional dancers, they tell stories of battles. They tell stories of hunts. Well, this dance started around 1940s or so. Does anybody know what was going on around that time all over the world in 1940s? World War II. And people don't always know this, but American Indians across the country have some of the highest rates of enlisting in the military. And it was no different around that time. It was very common for many young men in our community to go overseas and still fight for our indigenous people and our indigenous lands. But what happened is when they came back, the stories that we have been telling with our dances, they didn't tell the same story that they saw overseas. The style of battle was a lot different. The weapons had gotten more sophisticated. So they had to adjust their dancing a little bit to tell a different story. So what they did is they sped the dance up a lot, just like their hearts would speed up when they were out there in battle. So they sped the dance up, and when the drum speeds up, we have to dance faster, because dancers always dance to the beat of the drum. In order to do that, we had to change our regalia. So our last dancer we saw, he had this big bustle, is what they're called, made out of eagle feathers on his back. Well, that kind of restricted our movement, so unable to do different moves and different dance, we took the bustle and we made it two and put one on our shoulders, one on our backs. And eventually this dance became very popular in powwows and at public gatherings, and now it's a big competition dance. So that's why you'll see a lot of these fancy dancers wear bright colors, different designs, try to get the attention of judges. And this young man's a very good dancer, and I bet you that the harder you clap and cheer for him, I think he'll bust out some pretty interesting moves. So let's test that out. I'm going to get our Southern drums, Southern Sun, to give us a song for our men's fancy dancer. Y'all make some noise for our dancer. Let's see what he can do. I would like to thank everybody for coming here. I'm going to turn it back over to Miss Sharon.
All right, thank you very much. Let's get a big round of applause for our MC here, Mr. Ryan Dial Stanley. Doing a wonderful job, and I also like to recognize all of our dancers and singers, so a big round of applause for them as well. We want to thank each and every one of you for coming in and being so respectful. We thank you for your attention. I also want to thank Miss Michelle Carr. This young lady at the back of the room, guys, worked so hard to make sure everything flows nice. And sometimes we don't recognize her enough. So I say pila hoop to each of you and to Miss Michelle for making things go our way. So we want to remind you all also the easiest way for you to go through your stations are to kind of look at the schedule and map things out and have a plan and then move through your plan. And remember, if you get to a station that's a little crowded, move on to the next station and maybe come back and hit that station again. in. So we want you to take full advantage of all of the activities that we have here today. Don't forget there's something going on every floor except for the second floor. And we hope you have a great time here with us today in celebrating American Indian Heritage Month. Thank you.